looking at a flow outline of a normal immune response. So to start, we'll start with the antigen entry. So this is where the pathogen is going to breach our physical barriers like our skin and our mucous membranes, and this innate immune response is activated. And so we see a couple things happen here. So first and foremost, these macrophages and dendritic cells are going to recognize that pathogen and digest it. And they're going to do that via phagocytosis. They're going to engulf that pathogen and digest it. The other thing we're going to get with this innate immune response is an inflammatory response. So cytokines will be released, and they'll recruit immune cells there. So we'll get this response as well. All right, as we look in, closer towards our antigen processing, what we see is as we go through this pathway, those dendritic cells are going to process that pathogen and present the antigen via MHC2, and those dendritic cells are then going to migrate to lymph nodes and activate our adaptive immunity. All right, so as we get into this section here and our adaptive immunity, what we'll see is we have a couple things that happen right away. Our T helper cells become activated, so they're going to recognize that antigen on the MHC2, and the T helper cells will become activated, and they are going to release cytokines to stimulate those T and B cells. The other thing that we'll see up here is our cytotoxic T cells are going to become activated, and they will recognize that infected cell via MHC1 and receive the IL-2 signal. So two things happen as we look at starting this adaptive immunity. As we look further, so we have we go back, our T and our B cells are now stimulated. And what will happen here is our B cells are going to recognize the antigen via the B cell receptor and become activated. And then the T helper cells are going to provide cytokine signals for B cell differentiation. And then what we'll see is these plasma cells, after the B cells are activated, our plasma cells are going to produce antibodies. And so, as we look at completing this, the antibodies are going to neutralize that pathogen and trigger the complement system. The cytotoxic T cells are going to kill that infected cell. And lastly, our memory B and T cells are going to remain for future response. All right, so we fought off this pathogen, and those memory B and T cells are now there to essentially remember how to fight this off. And they, if we do come in contact with this pathogen again, they're there for a faster future response.